What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Katie Corio. I'm a health and fitness expert living in San Diego, but today I'm in New Mexico, Albuquerque, my hometown, visiting family, and this is Janelle Trujillo.
Yeah.
She was my very first fitness coach I ever had. We're doing a little bit, probably 3 or 4 videos covering certain topics in the health and fitness industry that we think are important and under-discussed.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the other ones, but there are multiple, so make sure you look out for them on the channel. We're going to keep it very casual, nice podcast style video, and I hope you enjoy. We just recorded one before this about competing, and if you want to compete, what you need to be aware of, the problems that we see before, during, and after competing, etc. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and find that on my channel. Otherwise, today in this video, we're going to talk about eating disorders because now you can, I don't know, share your story.
So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I think this is a topic that is really not discussed because it's not known. People don't know how to bring it up. Mm-hmm. So when I was 15, 16, I started to be very aware of my image. And I can't even tell you what kind of made that happen, but all of a sudden, I was microscoping every inch of my body.
Didn't you say it was magazines that you were obsessed
That was,
with?
yes. So I think that was such a pull for me. So comparing myself, looking at models on the cover of magazines, I would save my money and buy magazines. It inspired me to work harder, to try to get that image.
I love that you put that in
right?
Because that's exactly what is happening now on social media in a different way.
You're absolutely right. And I think this is such a huge thing that I see just because I experienced it before social media was even a thing. Look, I'm kind of old.
No, you're not, man.
So this is before social media. So
social media's not that.
I know. I guess not.
Old.
But so it was all magazines. So I was really drawn to, and at the time, looking back, I don't even think I would have even said I was comparing myself. It was
no, it's all subconscious.
Yeah, it's all subconscious.
And I want to just interject really quick. I feel like this is happening on social media. People come to me, oh, you're so inspirational, you're so motivational. That's amazing, and I want to be that for you, but is that really what I am, or are you comparing yourself? It is I hope this never happens to any of my followers, but I'm sure that it does, and I know that it happens with other people too, but when you look at someone as an inspiration, but then when they post, you just nitpick and compare your body to theirs. Yeah. Oh, they have way better X, Y, Z, you know? And I don't know, I keep repeating this in the videos, but just having the self-awareness to make that difference in your mind and say, no, this person is inspirational because of what they're putting out, what they're sharing, the information they're giving, and their physique. And I'm not just comparing myself. And whenever I find, sorry, I'm tangent.
No, go ahead.
Whenever I find myself following somebody that I see their photos and I'm like, subconsciously thinking bad things about me.
Yeah, I do it too.
I unfollow. I'm like, okay, no, they put out really pretty pictures and I obsessed with how their body looks, but it's not healthy for me, so I'm gonna unfollow.
So true. I do that all the time. But
I encourage you to do this.
Yeah, you really do have to kind of filter through and look to see, am I following somebody because they're truly inspiring me, and not just in their pictures, but in their words and their message.
Yeah.
Are you feeling if they're putting kissy lips and hearts, but they're looking right? That's their message. They're looking like, a 10, and you're like, oh, I wish I looked like that.
Yeah.
Then unfollow, because it's not doing anything good for your self-esteem, for your mental health. Yeah. So
you were doing that.
Yeah, going back to the mental health part, I was doing that, and I genetically have
an awesome physique,
bigger muscles. And what I do definitely have, and I started developing this when I was in high school, were my quadriceps. So I was kind of really embarrassed.
Which, by the way, I love your quads.
Thanks.
We were literally walking over to film this, and I'm like, man, look at those quads. They're so awesome.
Thank you. I'll do a quad workout and post it on my Instagram page.
There you go.
But I think really what it came down to was I was developing as a woman, and I didn't like it. I didn't want to be bigger. So I started working out like crazy, and I'll give you an example of when it got really bad, what it looked like. So I bought myself a treadmill.
How old were you?
I was 16. So I worked for a year as a lifeguard, saved all my money, bought a treadmill and a little TV. And I would wake up at 4 a.m. and I would run for an hour. So I bought a treadmill.
Yes.
I woke up at 4 a.m., ran for an hour, would do abs for 30 minutes because I knew nothing about fitness, nothing. It was just literally cardio. Then I would get ready for school. I'm a sophomore in high school, by the way. Maybe I'm a junior, sophomore, junior. And I go to school for lunch, I change, I run bleachers at the gym. After school, I have a 2-hour track practice.
So an hour in the morning, an hour at lunch.
Yes, 2 hours in the evening. And I would fast all day. And I would have...
How do you not just die? That's not so.
Well, you keep yourself busy. This is the key. Keep yourself busy. And then when you go home, you're starving. So I would measure out 1 cup of Special K because it was fat-free, a half a cup of skim milk, and then I would dilute it with a half a cup of water. So I dilute the skim milk.
Oh my
yes,
gosh.
Right? I know, it's crazy. That's what I would have for dinner.
It's literally
and
zero protein.
And I would start all over again. I think I have one picture, I don't even know where it's at anymore, and I look like, no joke, a 10-year-old little boy.
You need to find it.
I do need to find it. I lost all my muscle. I was wearing a 00 or a 10 little girl size.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And I remember being absolutely miserable. And I started to, so the biggest thing with eating disorders, this is something that you can look out for if maybe you're experiencing it or you have a loved one who's experiencing it, is patterns, where it's all about patterns. It's the same treadmill, it's the same time, it's the same speed, it's patterns. Break the pattern, you will help break the cycle of what's deeper, but that's a step.
Yeah.
It's a good first step.
That's a good thing to know as a coach
Yeah.
as well. If you're a coach and you have somebody who you think might have
Yeah.
a problem,
Look out
start
for that.
to notice if they do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And some things that I work with clients of mine who I start seeing those patterns is I won't change the time because that's important. I won't change the intensity. I'll change what treadmill they use. And if that's like, oh, I can't, then that's a red flag.
So what do you do in that situation?
So usually what I'll do is I'll say, well, why don't you use, so instead of changing the treadmill, why don't you do your 45 minutes or your hour on the treadmill and then do 15 minutes on the step mill at a low recovery speed.
You just change it a little.
Just change a little. It's,
yeah.
Slowly
Because
start to change.
She was telling me because somebody like that, they're probably not going to listen if you do a drastic change.
Yeah.
So you have to sort of lead them to self-discovery on changing it for themselves.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing with eating disorders too. It's like such a hot, like people, we don't want to tell people that we're having, and I don't want to say eating disorders as much as disordered eating. So we all have disordered eating in some way or another. But when it becomes the point when it's affecting your health, then you might need to go and ask somebody who has more experience with this what the next step as a coach you should take. And that might be another episode that we talk about.
Yeah.
But going back to my story, so I got to the lowest of my low as far as depression, because in the scheme of things, and the bigger scheme of things with the eating disorder has nothing to do with the eating. The eating is just an external expression of an internal problem. And I was extremely depressed, and I remember it was the summer going from I believe my junior to senior year. I tried to commit suicide.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah. And so,
No.
but thank God it didn't work, so I'm still here, and for a reason.
No.
So that's brings me to kind of where I am today and why I'm still doing this.
Oh. That's awful.
So I will tell you kind of and this will show you kind of where my mission is.
But look at her
with
now.
This industry, yeah, look at me now.
Oh my gosh.
So I went to the hospital. I took pills, and I had to spend a week in the hospital. They couldn't pump my stomach because it was too far ingested. So I had to drink this stuff that had charcoal to remove it from my liver. And I remember the doctor telling me, I asked the doctor if I was going to die, and he said, I don't know. And at that moment, I was like,
You knew?
I knew. I was like, okay, if I live through this, God has a purpose for me that's way
I
greater
literally just got the goosebumps.
than anything that I could imagine. So
She's such a special person.
Oh, thanks. So I graduated from high school, was doing so much better, still dealing with depression, and still, it doesn't go away overnight, right? But it's getting help. And I took a class in college, so I graduated high school. I'm taking these introductory courses at a local college, and I take this class called How to Teach Group Fitness, because I'm like, more exercise, I can do it, right? I was a lot better by then, but still had that tendencies to overexercise, but eating way better. So anyways, I walk into this little classroom, and there is 4 circles, or 4 arrows drawn in a circle, and pointed to each arrow was different words, and it said physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And in the middle of the circle, it said wellness. And I sat there, and I'm the only one in the classroom because I'm there early, and I literally, it was like light bulbs went off. It was amazing.
Singing.
Yes. And I said, this is what people need to learn. Not how to be thin.
I just got the goosebumps.
Not how to be a perfect size, not how to lose the weight, lose the size. They need to learn how to be well. Mm-hmm. And not just physically well, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually well.
Yes.
And that has been my mission from that day forward. And I feel like I'm just getting started, really.
You really are.
Yeah.
You really are.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see the things that you do.
Thanks. Thank you. There's so much, just like we've talked about, there's so much more to fitness than just physical.
We were talking about how fitness is so much more than just the physical, so much more than workouts and nutrition. There's a whole other, I would say 50% of it that is overlooked and not talked about enough, and that's the mental health. And you can be the fittest person on the planet and you're not healthy because your mental state is in the trash. So in order to become fit and healthy, we should recoin that term to mean wellness in general.
Yeah.
And I think if any of you guys are fitness coaches, you'll agree with me that you kind of not only act as their trainer, but you end up also being their therapist or their life coach sometimes, because usually the people that come to you wanting to become healthier and fitter have a lot of, we all do. It's not just people who come to you.
Well, and that's life in general, right? That life is not always just, sunshine and rainbows. Mm-hmm. We are all going through stuff, and it's just, are we coping with it and treating it in the way that's supposed to be, or are we masking it with more exercise like mine, right? I obviously had something going on, but what was I doing instead of identifying it and being aware of it? Because I look back now, when I was 15, 16, I had no idea.
Oh no.
None. I thought, this is just what I have to do. I have to exercise more so I can feel a little bit better about myself, even though I hate myself. And it was just this whole cycle because nobody talks about it. And this is why we're doing this.
And I love that you said everybody has some state of disordered eating. We all do.
Yeah.
And whether or not it affects your life in a negative way enough to say, okay, well, I need to change something. When I was competing, like not this past show, but back when I was doing, I think I did like 3 shows kind of back to back, I started to get very obsessive about my food and my weight. And like, I think if you guys were following me, I plateaued for like 6 weeks during prep. I didn't lose a single pound. And that mentally was so hard for me to swallow. I would literally wake up, and if it got so bad, I feel so embarrassed admitting this.
It's good.
It got so bad at one point that I would like squeeze a pimple and think, oh, whatever just came out of there is weight. I should re-weigh myself because maybe that little bit would push me over into the next pound.
Yeah.
That is how bad it was. Can you imagine?
No, so true.
Oh, I was so embarrassed.
Well,
and at that point, I knew in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, this is on the road to an eating disorder.
Yeah.
That right there, that action that I just did right now. And so after that show, I was like, nope, I'm not going to do this anymore. And I did powerlifting because
I love that.
The other way.
I love that she went completely extreme. But you know what? That's the thing too, and this is why I'm so glad we're talking about this. It's a being aware that, I mean, for you to do that and then be like, whoa, something's wrong here that I'm thinking really that way is a really good thing. And it's all about awareness. It's being aware. Are you starting to do things that are patterns that are not healthy? I mean, there was times, and I'm sure that we've, maybe not everyone, but if you're on a really strict diet and you get a little bit of sugar and your brain is like, oh my gosh, give me more, right? It's a chemical reaction, right? And so then you overeat, right? So then you throw something away. Have you seen that? It's a Sex and the City episode when Miranda throws the cake away and then she like goes and eats it from the trash, right? Like that. There's probably,
or people who eat stuff and then spit it out, like chew it and then spit it out.
Disordered eating. Yeah, it's not healthy. It's probably not.
And it's nothing to be ashamed of
No.
if you have it, because we all have some state of disordered eating, no matter what.
And I think talking about it, hopefully will
normalize it.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you're like, wait, I've done that before. Okay, right? We can just say, be aware. Just be aware of it. And
because you don't want to go down the road that she went through.
You don't. You want to be aware of it early. And if you're a parent and you see your teenager doing some stuff that you're probably like, oh, I don't know, be aware of it and start researching some information on how to have a conversation.
Right.
If you want some information from me on, how, even some suggestion, feel free to, you can either email me at janelleforhealth@gmail.com or you can connect with me on my Instagram page at janelleforhealth.
Yes. So all the info about her will be in the description below, so check it out. We're going to wrap up this video so we can jump into another topic. So if you are loving all of this talk, go watch the other clips. Each one will be about a specific topic. And at that, please subscribe if you haven't already. All the info about Corio Active, which is my new activewear line coming out soon, will be also below. You guys, it's launching so soon. I cannot wait. I'm just waiting for a few more pieces to arrive and then we will be live. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
Yay!
Otherwise, thanks for watching.
Thanks,
Comment
guys.
below anything you want us to cover in a future video. And
it's been an honor to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Don't have to wait, you know my name. Sunshine and rain, some things don't change.